Tonight, everything I thought was real would change forever. Jack sat quietly on the school bus, staring out the window. His hometown in rural Pennsylvania was flat, gray, and ordinary, but he couldn't stop imagining the breathtaking sights awaiting him on this trip. The forests, the sparkling rivers, the vast open skies. It felt like stepping into a dream. Around him, students laughed, snacked, and danced. Liam and Ethan were teasing each other, tossing chips back and forth, while music softly played from a teacher's speaker. The sun was still high, casting golden light through the bus windows. Jack's excitement was so intense it made him oblivious to the faint shadow moving just behind the tree line outside the bus. Something about it didn't feel right. As the bus rolled farther from town, the sky darkened faster than expected. The road narrowed, surrounded by thick woods. Jack's friends were still laughing, unaware of the strange chill creeping through the bus. Suddenly, smoke started curling from the engine. Panic erupted. The bus jerked to a stop, the headlights flickering against the darkening trees. The teachers decided to find a nearby hotel to spend the night. The bus pulled into the drive of an old, secluded lodge hidden among tall, gnarled trees. Its paint was peeling, windows fogged with age, and the surrounding forest seemed almost alive. Jack and his friends, Liam and Ethan, were assigned a single room. As they entered, the door creaked closed behind them. The window was wide open, revealing a river glinting faintly in the moonlight through the dark forest. Jack whispered, "Remember last time, the lake at night?" A shiver ran down their spines as they realized tonight they might just repeat history. Night had fully fallen. The hotel was quiet. Most students had gone to sleep. Jack, Liam, and Ethan quietly crept out of their room, careful not to wake the night watchman. The air was cold, unnaturally still. Their flashlight beams cut through thick darkness, illuminating twisted tree roots and fog curling across the forest floor. Every snapped twig echoed like a gunshot in the silence. They laughed nervously, whispering to one another, trying to keep spirits high. Yet the further they walked, the more the forest seemed to watch. Shadows twisted between the trees, and faint rustling followed them. The river they had seen from the window seemed tantalizingly close, yet no matter how far they walked, it stayed just out of reach. After nearly an hour, Jack's phone lost service. Panic rose slightly, but they pressed on, the beam of their flashlights trembling. The cold intensified. Their breaths formed clouds in the air, each exhale sounding too loud in the still night. Finally, they decided to turn back, but something was wrong. Ethan, who had been trailing behind, had disappeared. Jack and Liam called out, their voices swallowed by the trees. Then, suddenly, the sound of running footsteps echoed through the forest, fast, uneven, relentless. They were terrified, but leaving Ethan behind was not an option. They ran toward the sound, hearts hammering, breaths ragged. The footsteps stopped abruptly. Silence. Then, faintly, the sound of digging. Jack whispered to Liam, "That's him, right?" They crept forward, flashlights trembling, and what they saw made their stomachs drop. Jack and Liam approached cautiously, the forest around them silent except for the soft sound of dirt being shoveled. There, in a small clearing, they saw Ethan, his back bent, digging into the damp earth with frantic energy. Moonlight glinted off his pale face, and something was wrong. Jack stepped closer and gently placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "What are you doing?" he whispered. Ethan slowly lifted his head, and the sight made Jack stumble back in terror. His eyes were pitch black, his hair wild, his mouth slack and pale. The forest seemed to close in, shadows twisting around him. In a sudden, terrifying lunge, Ethan shoved Jack violently. Jack fell to the ground as Liam tried to grab him. Ethan screamed, a chilling, inhuman sound that split the night, and bolted toward the ruins of an old house just visible through the trees. Jack and Liam ran after him, screaming his name, but he didn't stop. The forest twisted into a maze, fog thickened, and the ground seemed to grab at their feet. Every step brought them closer to the old house, an abandoned relic with broken windows and rotting wood. A low, moaning wind carried faint whispers, and the feeling of being watched became unbearable. They reached the house, and the door groaned open as Ethan disappeared inside. From the darkness within came a soft, horrifying chant, and a towering figure behind him. a grotesque woman with pale, hanging skin, matted hair, and eyes that seemed to pierce their very souls. Jack and Liam froze. The nightmare had begun, and there was no turning back. Jack and Liam stumbled into the abandoned house, the floorboards groaning under every step. Ethan's screams echoed through the empty halls. Moonlight spilled through broken windows, illuminating dust and cobwebs, but also something darker. Behind Ethan, the grotesque woman advanced slowly, her twisted limbs moving inhumanly. Her black, lifeless eyes fixed on them like a predator sizing up its prey. The air was thick with cold and fear. The boys tried to grab Ethan, but he threw them off violently before collapsing. His body convulsed unnaturally, and he started mumbling words that made no sense. The woman's scream echoed through the house, sending chills down their spines. Jack realized whatever had taken over Ethan was no longer human. They ran, desperate, and somehow found themselves outside. The fog had thickened, turning the forest into a ghostly maze. Suddenly, the lake appeared, still, black, and eerily reflective. Without warning, Ethan lunged toward it, as if drawn by an invisible force. Jack and Liam screamed, chasing him, but it was too late. The water seemed to come alive, wrapping around Ethan and dragging him under. Jack barely pulled Liam out of the lake's grasp, both of them soaked and shaking. The screams from the water faded, replaced by an eerie silence broken only by distant whispers. Their hearts pounded. The forest seemed endless, every shadow hiding a new threat. As dawn crept over the trees, Jack woke in the hotel bed. His eyes widened in horror, his body shook, and the events of the night replayed vividly in his mind. He got up and went downstairs, only to find two bodies, wrapped in white sheets, and police standing silently. Jack's eyes darted around the hotel. Every shadow, every creak of the floor, felt alive. He heard a soft whisper from the corner of the room. "I am still waiting for you." Panic surged through him. The images of Ethan's black eyes, the woman's grotesque face, and the lake dragging him under replayed in vivid, horrifying detail. Jack left the lobby, heart pounding, hoping the daylight would protect him. But in the quiet of his room that night, the whispers returned, closer, stronger. He couldn't sleep. Somewhere outside, near the river and the old house, she waited. And Jack knew he had only escaped once. She would be back. If you think the night is safe, think again. She is always waiting. A voice whispered in his mind, "I am still waiting for you. Some mistakes never let you sleep again." Jack stood frozen, staring at the two lifeless bodies wrapped in white sheets. The hotel lobby smelled faintly of smoke and damp wood. Police officers whispered quietly among themselves, but the questions in Jack's mind screamed louder than any words. Outside, the old forest loomed silently, shadows stretching long and dark. Every gust of wind sounded like whispers calling his name. The police spoke softly to the students. Years ago, a reclusive old woman had lived in that abandoned house near the river. She had led a quiet, peaceful life. But greed and envy brought strangers to her door. They attacked her, trying to take her home for themselves. They killed her, threw her body into the river, and claimed the house. Since that night, no one dared approach the river or the house after dark. Her spirit remained, angry, patient, and hungry for revenge. Jack realized with terror that Ethan had been possessed, drawn to the lake by her vengeful spirit. The woman's power was far from gone. She could reach him even here. If you enjoyed this horror story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell icon for more terrifying stories.